Hi, I'm David Hackoff, Executive Director of NewFest, New York's leading LGBTQ film and media organization, and I am so pleased to welcome you to this panel, The Evolution of Black Queer Representation in Scripted TV, as part of NewFest Pride. We are so excited to be partnering with BET on this panel and have a really incredible lineup of artists and executives to dive into this topic. So thank you for joining us, and thank you again for BET for being such a great partner. NewFest Pride is a 4-day celebration of all things queer stories. We've got 6 brand new LGBTQ films and some other special events. So please make sure to check us out at newfest.org. Also, if we have any filmmakers watching today who would like to have their films considered for the New York LGBTQ Film Festival this October, please, submissions are open. And as part of our Black Filmmakers Initiative, we are waiving fees for all Black filmmakers. That's an initiative dedicated to addressing the pipeline issues for Black filmmakers to getting their work made and seen. So please consider submitting your project to NewFest. Check out the films we've got going on over the next several days. And I am delighted to introduce our moderator, Kelby Park. Kelby is an award-winning editor, writer, and poet based in Brooklyn. Currently, she serves as the content manager at ViacomCBS, covering the future of television for the company's B2B website. Previously, she worked as an editor at Google, where she oversaw news content for some of the tech giant's biggest products and services. And Kelby's work has appeared in Complex, USA Today, and other notable publications. So please join me in welcoming Kelby Clark.
Hello, and thank you so much, David. And welcome everyone to the Evolution of Black Queer Representation in Scripted TV, presented by BET. Joining me today from the 20s team is director Cierra Glaude. From Tyler Perry's SISTAS, Brian Jordan Jr., who plays Maurice, Brittany Inge, who plays Ashley in the upcoming BET Plus series Miss Pat, and Senior Vice President of Brand Strategy and Marketing for BET, Tiyale. Welcome, everyone. Now, to get us started, I love to go down the line and for each of you to tell us a little bit about yourself, the project you're associated with, and your favorite thing about the LGBTQ plus Black community. But before we dig into that conversation, let's take a quick peek at scripted comedy 20s.
You just got evicted and you trying to go sit on the grass and watch a movie?
Yeah. I don't want some stressful 9-to-5 that's gonna take me away from my writing.
I do need a writer's PA.
I'll take it.
Oh, she is very stylish. Or he, or maybe that's a they. Unclear.
I just don't want the only 2 Black execs at the studio trying to kill each other over a promotion. It's not what the ancestors would have wanted. We need to support Black stuff.
No, we should support good stuff that just happens to be Black.
Nice to see some Black folks in the room.
We got melanin. You mad? You mad?
That was fantastic. That was great. Cierra, as director on 20s, I feel like it's more than appropriate that we start with you on intro. So tell us a little bit about yourself, 20s, and your favorite thing about the Black LGBTQ plus community.
Okay, all right, bet. What's happening, everybody? I'm Cierra Glaude. Some people know me by Shooter. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. I spent a handful of years working in the Hollywood streets as a PA from Queen Sugar, Girls Trip, Wrinkle in Time, 20s. And then I wound up directing on Queen Sugar, and now I'm up on 20s. And it's just awesome to, be out here representing for the young gay Black girls from the South and stuff like that. And just always say that I want my work to be a mirror and a pathway. I want you to be able to see yourself, and I want you to be able to get somewhere. And so that's my thing. That's my favorite thing about the LGBTQ plus community. It's just like, we all rally around each other and hold each other up. And it's like, if you want to get there fast, go alone. But if you want to go farther, go in a group.
Amazing. We love it. We love it. Listen. And so, Brian, tell us a little bit about you. I'm going to pass it over.
Oh, sure. I'm Brian Jordan Jr. I play Maurice on Tyler Perry's SISTAS. Season 3 starts June 9th. And I'm from New Orleans originally. I'm just a good guy. I enjoy having fun. I enjoy the arts in every facet. I'm a dancer, singer, actor, songwriter, filmmaker, screenwriter. I'm all the things. What I enjoy most about the LGBTQ plus Black community is the resilience. We learn so much every day about things that have happened in the past and how they relate to today, and just how, queer people have been able to get past it and not just make just make better and and do better than most people. I mean, queer people are the reasons for everything that I love, So I love how queer people have been able to just build beauty from ashes.
Yeah. Yes, we love to hear it. And we love the Southern energy, like Brian, Cierra, hey, bring it. Brittany, I'm gonna pass it over to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, well, my name is Brittany Inge. I am originally from Laurel, Maryland. I went to high school in Washington, D.C., so a little East Coast energy for the room, okay? I went to Duke Ellington School of the Arts, not Performing Arts, and I went to Spelman College in Atlanta, so that's my Southern energy. And yeah, I'm an actress, a writer, director, singer, artist, and activist. That's my life. And yeah, I play Ashley on the Miss Pat show, and I'm very proud and excited for what this new age, very grown sitcom is going to bring to BET Plus. And my favorite thing about the LGBTQ plus community would have to be just the way Black community, the way they push forward culture. Like they create everything that becomes mainstream, I feel. And yeah, they just influence so much of pop culture, politics, everything that you can think of. And that's my favorite thing, just the influence, the impact.
Yes. And Tiyale, last but not least, tell us a little bit about yourself.
You're muted.
That's half my life these days, right? That's kind of how it's moving. But we're gonna start strong and end strong. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Tiyale Hayes. I'm the Senior Vice President for Brand Strategy and Marketing at BET. And I just want to say first, it's such an honor to be on this network and also to be working with this amazing talent. I see all of you guys every day in the work I do. So it's just a pleasure to be on here with this very distinguished panel. A little bit about me. I'm also Southern, so this is actually really interesting that we are all from the South. I am from Richmond, Virginia, originally, and I went to Hampton, so I'm very Virginia born and bred. And with that, the thing I love most about this community, I identify as a gay man, and the thing I love the most is our joy. There is a joy and a light that lives inside of this community. I think back to the points all made, because there's so much that the world tries to take from the community. We've had to self-ignite in a way to really bring a light. I just love, oftentimes I'm running from meeting to meeting. I'll jump into my gay besties group chat and just have a great die laughing for 2 minutes as I'm running to get coffee, right? Because there's such a light and a joy that we bring to the world. And I think that's one of our biggest contributions.
Yes. And we love the joy. And I feel the joy here, just the energy in this little virtual room that we have going here. Pleasure to be here with all of y'all today. And I'm excited to get started and just jump in this conversation. So as mentioned earlier, we're here to talk about Black LGBTQ plus characters in television. And we just watched a small clip from 20s, created and written by Lena Waithe. 20s ranked as the #1 new comedy series on cable for African Americans 18 through 49 in 2020. And it premiered to critical acclaim with its first-time portrayal of a masculine presenting queer woman of color as the lead in a primetime show. Cierra, can you talk to us a little bit more about Hattie's character, played by Jonica T. Gibbs, and why it was important to showcase that perspective and tell the story of 20s on BET?
Yeah, so I think the thing that I love most about 20s and JoJo's character Hattie is just the fact that like she exists without spectacle. Okay, she's just out there having a good time, being hilarious, and that's just what it is. It's not a show just because she's gay. And like that's the kind of thing we need out there. It's just like this show exists and it's led by this person, and that's just what it is. And that's, to me, that's just what's so beautiful about it. It just makes it so warm. And yeah, it's like we need more of that in the world, just to be able to exist and see ourselves without, all the extra razzle dazzle, and just see how we live and breathe. And so I'm really glad that BET is, providing a platform for people to be able to see themselves, because it's so important with all of this media that people consume nowadays, to be able to see yourself in that. That's why we're inclusive. That, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just hit different.
I love that. I love that. And I'm just curious, I mean, is there a different dynamic on set or behind the scenes when it comes to writing and producing for a series that portrays mostly straight people of color compared to LGBTQ plus themed shows? And because you've directed and you've been involved with like a number of shows from Queen Sugar to so many others. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, me, I just go in any room and I act the same. So I kind of like make the spaces conform to me. And honestly, I've had the luxury of not having to be in predominantly white spaces. I was in one predominantly white space as an extra on, it was like some really far removed stuff. And it was so weird. And I was like emotional because I was like, I've been on like 7, 8 productions. And this is the first like all white thing I've been on. So I hit A and I was like, yo, thank you, because I've been around my people for so long. And it's just a different energy. It goes again back to us supporting each other and knowing like, whatever we're doing from the top down, like everybody got us, and the checks and balances, and you know, we just all there putting in that energy and making sure things are correct and heartfelt. And so, you know, you need that community in there with it.
Yeah. And I love that point that you made about like community and like building those communities. And this for everybody, so anybody can jump in. But why have shows like 20s and others and on TVs and streamers that portray positive but often complicated relationships, right, between Black queer friends and characters, why have those shows become so popular?
I would love to just say something simple. I think that it's because they could become popular because people have been waiting for them for so long, waiting to be seen, waiting to feel like they're watching TV and they can relate. I think that it's just long overdue, long overdue. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
I think people have been waiting to see themselves. It's the same way we felt as a people when Black Panther came out, or when we were finally able to see, you know, more plus size women or people taking the forefront of stories. Mm-hmm. People have been waiting to see themselves on screen. Everyone watches television. Everyone watches movies. We're impacted by entertainment. People want to see themselves. We've been watching other characters lead these stories for so long. Yeah. We've been just begging, pining to see ourselves. So when that finally happens, you're going to get all the views, all the, you know, all the energy, all the support.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with both of them. I don't have much to add there.
I would add that I think it's an interesting combination of relatability and escapism. So is the idea that I can still escape into this world, I can leave all my problems, all my emails, my Zoom calls can be left at the computer, and I can escape into this other culture's world. But yet, because the characters are so complicated, there's an immediate relatability, right? And I can look at all 3 shows and just talk to things that we know. Everybody has a friend like Maurice, right? Everyone has someone who's like, give it to you straight, and you can kind of have the banter with, and you guys, and that makes life fun. Everybody's had challenges with their parents, as Brittany's going to talk about later, right? In the Miss Pat show, and navigating those. So there's a relatability. And everyone knows a Hattie, the person who just exists, and they walk in a room and their smile lights the room up. So I think there's a relatability that we're seeing that's combined with the escapism that television gives, that people can say, oh, wow, I see myself in this, even though it's not me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Tiyale, I think that was a great point. And I think, right, like, it's like, to your point, it's the queer aspect of that, like, it's only part of like their identity, right? Like, these are full people, these are full characters that have full lives. And like the LGBTQ plus aspect of that, that's like one important aspect, but like we're also trying to show that these are just people like everybody else, right? Like, we're all just like people, and it's leaning heavily into that. And so, Brittany, I have a question for you. I want to pass it to you. So you worked with powerhouse producers like Lena Waithe on the acclaimed series Boomerang, and now you're taking on a new role as Ashley on this new BET Plus series, The Miss Pat Show, which we're so excited for. We're ready for it. Now, you're playing Pat's daughter, who is a lesbian, which will delve into the parents' acceptance of the daughter. So when it comes to representation of Black families, we've known many staples that we grew up with that are depicted with like what a traditional family should look like, right? Mm-hmm. Often these shows omitted the diversity of the real families who watch these shows. So can you talk about your role and how your show is revolutionizing this concept of what a traditional family is?
Oh man. Well, there's nothing traditional about Miss Pat. Period. That's why Ty is laughing. There's nothing traditional about Miss Pat. Period. So let's just start there. And she doesn't want there to be. And I think she's so adamant about that. And I think people are going to just breathe a sigh of relief seeing her. So many people are going to see themselves in their stories. Miss Pat has truly in real life 2 different sets of kids. But she has a husband. She, has a whole family, married. She has 2 different sets of kids. She's coming from a background of being a former convicted felon. Now she's a suburban mom. This is her real life and her TV life. And I think the complexities and the duality of that is not discussed enough, but these are people's lives. You can start somewhere, but it's not about where you start. It's about where you finish and the journey that people take. And we're not all just one thing. The same thing that you were saying about identifying as LGBTQ+. Anything that's a part of your journey is not the singular thing that defines you. And so I think our show does a great job of just showing the beauty, the real complexity, the real nuance of being in a modern day Black family and what that looks like, and having a Black mama be a real Black mama on TV, asking the questions that only a Black mama can ask. And it's not going to be politically correct. They just want the answers that they want. So I think our show does a great job of showing all of that in a very real and humorous way.
The authenticity is real, and we're looking forward to it. So excited to finally see it when it, comes on screen. And I want to open this up. Yes. And I want to open this up to the group. So everyone, with the content you all produce, you're directing, you're acting in, I'm curious if you've received any responses from LGBTQ fans that have really resonated with you. Anything that comes to mind?
Oh, definitely. Something that comes to mind is whenever Maurice had the fight scene and the hate crime was done to him and he had to rehabilitate in the hospital, what the audience had seen on the show before had been jokes and laughs and, reads and shade and what we usually see from a Black gay man as an auxiliary character on television. And I think that it gave Tyler Perry's audience, who is a very loyal and specific audience, a new view of queer Black men. And I think it also gave them a little bit of a heart for them, because I think that sometimes we get dehumanized as Black gay men, and we were able to see this, the comic relief, the person that we can't watch to see and laugh, deal with a near-death experience. And that's something that happens all the time. And I think that the response that I got from people who didn't even realize that so much hate was happening to trans women and trans men and queer men and women, it was great for me, because it was great that, I was able to ignite something in a culture of people, a subculture of people who, were just ignorant of what is really going on with queer people, and also just great to get out of so much laughing and really, really give another dimension to Maurice.
I love that. And Brittany, you look like you were about to say something before too.
Oh, I honestly was just agreeing. I agree with everything you said. I don't have anything to add to this piece of the conversation just yet, only because the Miss Pat show isn't out yet. But I will say, I think it will be good for people to see Ashley on the Miss Pat show, because she is, like Hattie, they're different in terms of how they present, but she also presents without spectacle. She is just who she is. She's not a masculine presenting lesbian. She likes her wigs and her nails, just like her mom. Like she gets that from her mom, let's say. But she also identifies like she identifies. She likes who she likes. She loves who she loves, and that's just it. There's nothing else to it. And I think that's important for folks to see as well. Another way to reflect back humanity, because so many women are walking through the world the same way.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely universality and specificity. And so that's why with all of these characters, it's I have had friends that is this is just like me and my mom's dynamic, or me and my friends, and how we move through the world, the fun things we do. And it's just, again, just so important. It's paramount to reflect those things back to people and encourage them, because it's you can do this too. That's the main thing. Is we out here to encourage people with these images and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then I'll add one piece of what we've seen on the BET front from a marketing end. I got a Facebook post routed to me about a year ago when TWENTIES was in its first run from a mom. And the mom had a screenshot of Hattie. In the Facebook post, she said, "Dear BT, thank you so much for putting my daughter on television." She said, my daughter is a masculine presenting lesbian woman. And then she said, "I just learned what these words mean." Like she was on the evolution herself. And she spent her entire life being a spectacle in so many words. And so to see her normalized on television is so powerful. And she said, "I can't thank you enough for putting my own daughter on TV." And those are the moments that we live for, the moments I live for, why the work we do is so important to the culture. It goes beyond television for us. It really is about representing that fullness of Black culture. And so that was one moment that crystallized that experience for me.
Come on, crystallize.
Yes. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. And so we're talking about, right, like this evolution, like this visibility that like we're seeing more so than like we have, right, like over the past like years, decades. But there's so much more work to be done. I think we all know that. And as many series, including 20s, look to redefine the queer Black narrative, there are fewer platforms that, you know, expand on this viewing experience. Tiyale, you're at the front line of this with BET Plus. What do you see in the future as it relates to Black LGBTQ plus representation in media? And what is BET specifically doing to address these efforts?
Yeah, wonderful question. Where I see it going is really going deeper into that circle of fullness, right? So we kind of started off as characters on the outside, ancillary, best friend, stereotype, you know, and now we're getting complexity, we're getting fullness, and we're getting closer to the center. By having one lead, once you have one lead in the show that's done well, you only get more of those, right? And that's the evolution. And that allows, when you're in the lead role or a more predominant role, a chance to just have a more expansive view. We are really committed to that idea of the fullness of Black culture. We don't see Black as a monolith, because we are Black every night of the week, every hour in prime time. We have to pull in stories that represent everyone's point of view. And I love just even on this, having shows from Lena, having shows from Tyler, gives us having shows from Lee Daniels, gives us a great space to really play in that full Black experience. And then specifically inside this community, we are really proud that we have, at last count, over 25 characters in our original series that the character identifies as a part of the community. That's immensely important to us. And we want to keep pushing that as we move through all of the diversity inside the group. We're going to continue to push on where we have gaps, keep doubling down there, bringing more characters out that are what we call Black and. So I am Black and I am. I'm Ashley, I'm Black, I'm a lesbian, and I'm a fashionista, and I ride horses. And that's gonna be okay. We're gonna put it all in. We're gonna show all that, because what we do know to be true is that fans really are yearning for that complexity and that depth, because they're looking for connection and looking to really see themselves in these spaces.
Amazing, amazing. And so like in talking about creating these characters, creating these spaces, both in front of and behind the camera, we have the prolific content creator, Tyler Perry, making these strides and doing it on his own terms successfully, partnering with BET on these amazing series. He's created such interesting characters, including Brian's Maurice Webb from the hit series Tyler Perry's SISTAS. So let's take a quick look at the series trailer.
I told you to leave him alone.
We have a few questions.
Just tell me if he's okay.
How long you been seeing Jose?
Why are you doing this?
My best friend is upset with me. You didn't know he was my ex. This was a mistake.
I like you.
I'm trying to figure this out.
I'm done.
Fatima's a good person. Are you jealous? Excuse me?
All of you are my best friends. Don't leave.
Won't catch me falling down.
Listen, I'm ready for it. It looks juicy. Can't wait to catch up. We're ready. So Tyler Perry's SISTAS, it's returning on June 9th for a third season. Be sure to catch it. Brian, I want to toss it to you. We typically see Black queer characters on TV, and they are usually shunned and shamed. But in SISTAS, Maurice, he's often celebrated. Can you please tell us about playing Maurice, what that's been like, what the audience reception's been like?
Playing Maurice has been so rewarding in so many different ways, and also surprising. When I auditioned for the show, and this is not going to be a long story, but when I auditioned for the show, Maurice was a recurring character. And for people who don't know what that means, it's like not a regular, like only in a certain amount of episodes. And when I auditioned, I had a great audition, I thought, but I also didn't think I got it because it was really quick. Tyler was like, okay, thank you. I didn't know that he just wanted to hire me then. I just thought that he was done with me. And so when I got my call, it was a series regular call. And so that was the first surprise and rewarding thing, because obviously we go our whole lives waiting for those things. In addition to that, though, Maurice in this show that is about, and we just saw in the promo, I'm not even in the promo because this show is about the sisters and the men that they love. Well, Maurice doesn't have a sister or a person that he loves. They didn't create that for him. And so in watching season 3, we'll see like a lot of different things. He gets to explore love, which is I'm so excited about. But in addition to that, it is important that Maurice is celebrated by Tyler, by the people who watch the show, because the show is really about the sisters and the brothers, and Maurice is kind of in the middle. And people are like, oh God, I love Maurice. I'm like, how? I'm always so surprised at the outpouring, and people are like, we love you so much, and people see me on the street, which that is crazy. But I'm so happy to be a part of something that makes people so happy. I believe that the work that we do is it's a service to people. And it's also, I always say that when you are creative, you are so close to the creator. I believe that we work in tandem, and it's an honor to be able to do something I love and make people happy, and to bridge so many gaps between how I grew up and how people who watch the show grew up and how I trained. And I'm doing Tyler Perry, and it's a different audience that's just watching, and so many different things. It's a blessing, and I can talk all day about it, and I'm not, because I'm just so overwhelmed. Even like talking about it, listening to myself right now, I'm like, how did this happen? It's a beautiful thing, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the content. I'm grateful for the work, for the opportunity, and for the audience who pour into us so much. They love this show, man, and it's just a blessing. It's a blessing to be celebrated as Brian and also as Maurice.
Listen, we love to see it. We love to see it. And we're here for all the love. We love it. We're excited for SISTAS. Remember, June 9th is coming back. Let's go. Let's go. So, to wrap us up, I'd like to end the conversation with like a question for everyone, and I think we've all touched on it like as we've been talking, right? But I'm curious, why is it important for viewers, Black viewers specifically, but viewers in general, to see Black queer stories on TV, right? And what you hope viewers are taking away from your respective projects, your characters. Cierra, I want to start with you.
I think that the biggest takeaway is that they matter. You know what I'm saying? They matter enough that we'll go out here and do it. And we sometimes, I always say everybody ain't able, and we able. You feel me? And so we're out here on the ground doing the work to make ourselves be seen and other people be seen. And again, it's just so heartwarming and so empowering for them just to know that, like, hey, like my existence in this world is acknowledged. And some little small, and that can make somebody feel so big. And so, we just out here to gas people up and encourage people. And that's what I hope my work does. You know what I'm saying? I just want to encourage people. Again, it should be a pathway in the mirror. You should see yourself and you should be able to get somewhere.
Brian, you look like you thinking on this one.
It's just, I'm just amazed at how beautiful the discovery is. Like, even in this moment, I've learned so much, even listening in this moment. It's just beautiful to watch people discover on all hands, gay and straight people, queer people, trans people. We all are discovering so much every day, all the time. And sometimes it's hard discoveries, but there's still beauty in that, because I know, and this may be out of turn, but I know the demographic for the show that I'm on, and I understand the type of audience that we have. And I know that the type of character that Maurice is not something that they're used to seeing. but they discover so much, and they've opened their arms to them, even reluctantly. I get some horrible things said, you know, but people have no choice but to know that Maurice is somebody in your neighborhood. He's somebody at your church. He works at your bank. You know what I mean? Like he is here, and he deserves to be seen on the cable that he pays for. He deserves that. So I'm just taken aback by the discovery by Shooter and her work, and Brittany, and just all the different viewpoints and opinions. It's just beautiful. It's Black, and Blackness is just the best thing. So.
Oh,
exactly.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think I have anything to add to that. I think it's all very well said, honestly.
We outside.
Right. The queer community is here. That's all you need to know. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Being outside.
Being outside. Out here.
Being outside.
Outside.
The thing I love about the work we're doing is I'll wrap it up in a story a personal story about my life. When I think about, I have a lot of representation in my family across the LGBTQ plus space. And I have an aunt, my father's sister, older sister. You know, down south, we all have nicknames. So she was born Deborah, but we call her Uncle Crow is what we call her, because she's a masculine presenting lesbian woman who now, because back then they didn't have language. They had to exist in a very narrow space because she didn't have language. So we would play with the auntie, uncle. She answered to both. She called herself both. We moved through. Society hadn't evolved. I look at where I am in the times that we live in, and we have this representation, and we have language, and it's hard for people to kind of look at what kids are kind of going through now, because it's hard to understand how they exist in these spaces, and specifically Black kids who are still having some challenges in the home front, right, relative to other groups. What I'm hopeful for is that future, is that Uncle Crow, Aunt Crow, me, and then my younger cousins, kids, or whatever, will have a dramatically different experience as they exist in this thing that we call this rainbow spectrum, right? As they exist in this. And the role that we play as creators, and in my case, marketer, of the content that you guys build is so unbelievably powerful and in pushing society forward to ultimately make it open for everyone, so that everyone really can exist in something that doesn't feel so narrow.
I love it. And one way to close this out, Tiyale, like, thank you for that. Thank you for that. And I just want to take a moment to thank NewFest, to thank BT, and to thank the four of you for just sharing this space, for sharing your perspective today. Thank you all so much. And we outside.
We outside.
Here.
Love it.
Big outside.